edging up, are just, coming in. But still, majority is the Western world. Their ideas is far beyond. It's beyond me. But I have understood it. I walk around and the things I see, I clearly can tell that something has driven these people to this level, this stage. And if it is the religion, okay, maybe that is the case. It's the religion that has drawn them to this level. The spirit behind the religion. Because these are people who embrace the Arabian way of worship, that is a Jewish way of worship, took it up and made a god out of it. Somebody says Yehoshua, it's still Yehoshua. No, not to my view. All we have now is Jesus, not Yehoshua. It might be the biggest excuse, which is the biggest lie ever, to consider that translation is the issue. Is the excuse here, because the name Yehoshua is truly translated into Jesus. Whatever it is that came up with the translation, I think it's a big lie. It wasn't necessary. But even if that is the case, it's a big lie. The new God, which has been pulled out of the Jewish way of the Jewish storyline, or the ancient Greek storyline, is what we have as Jesus today. But at the end of the day, it is a new that they drew. The idea was taken out from that end. And we know the Greeks started it, the Latins, these are our European countries, because they somehow connect to the Arabian world. They connected to the Arabian world if you look into the Jewish history. So I'm not even going any doubt about how things really has turned out. But over time, gradually, we have ended up to have this Jesus presentation, which majority is the countries of which the spirit itself that they developed did not really took upon itself, or the true natural culture of which the storyline has come from. Because the Westerner live is Western life. They don't put robes all over them like the Arabians do. But the true worshippers, or the true storyline, will tell you that they live their life similar to what the Arabs or the Islamic people do. Their dressing and everything was like that. I'm sure the Paul of Titus and John and all those names that has all been translated, Peter and the rest of it, were dressing just like the Islamic people were dressed. That's how they used to dress, because they all come from that same area. The faith has had come from there. Even now, the Jews, they dress up the same way, just like the Arabs. So if you look at the Christian world today, it's quite totally different from where we have to believe it's coming from. So the Westerners have turned it all around. They've made their God out of that. They naturally are good at that. They have been blessed with that kind of smart moves and smart thinking, and that has been what has attracted everybody to go on. Is it bad? No, I'm not talking about the badness of it or anything. No, it's not to do with that. Democracy is good, nothing bad about it. We have moved on, advanced. Ideas which are good cannot be resented in any reason. But it's just for the sake of analysis. I'm opening up these things this way, just for the sake of analysis, nothing more. Because sometimes I walk around what I see and I'm thinking about it, and I say, these are the answers. They are right before me. The answers are right there before me. The very generation has transformed into this state only because they sold their soul. They've sold their soul to honor something. And as long as they stay honoring that culture, that religion, they stay blessed, because the spirit is like has matured itself to the state that it's able to gradually, bring to the doorstep of them the wisdom beyond. And they are willing to stay in even solitary state to get these things done. They embrace the Spirit so much, and they have done the work of reaching out to get almost most people to accept their God or their spirit that they have sort of yielded to. Nobody knows why. I don't know why, but yes, that is what has gone on. But if you think, as I'm trying to open out, you put logic, look to logic into contest, and you think things through, you clearly will see that this isn't as a straightforward deal as we sort of supposed to be thinking. I really feel so committed to the videos because I know the value of it. I know that I'm trying to do something good, and if you are able to sort of see the goodness in it, you will definitely see the necessity of which you and I are supposed to consider seriously, because more of us are being drifted away from foolishness or things that does not have a reason to it, and we don't see it. They may be glittering. I'm not saying it's bad. This is a nice life and all that, but it has a very short end. Look at the amount of death, the amount of horrible things that are happening. Even in today's world of advancement, people can die in a split of a second. People can be killed from a whole distance, which wouldn't have been the case, centuries back, before when the times of the books were written or scriptures were being written. A man's life has become useless, worthless, even the more, no matter how rich you are. It's either the spirit is taking over, or the human beings are drowning themselves without a reason or a valid reason. So I try to open up these things in the book. I try to share with you why I say all these things. Why is it so important? I point out to you the errors that you may already know or you don't know. Maybe you are so committed to your religion and your culture, which you must do. It's only up to you to grow up and say, no, I don't want that. This thing didn't make sense. Now, that is the point. Your thinking of seeing that this isn't making sense is all that it takes. It's all that it takes to make the right choice. Because life isn't there for us to sort of life isn't there for us to underestimate it. We are there to see the value of it, not to look down on it. I care about everything that I sort of witness every day. And I know that if I'm able to stay on course, there is a lot of good that I will do. People are not really participating in the video for some reason. I don't know. People don't really enjoy religion. Maybe that's the reason. But if you were thinking a reasoning person and you are not being moved by the so-called spirit that I'm talking about, which controls people and has drifted people into, has lost the spirit keep taking our soul. And it's the same spirit, I believe, that has been killing us, that has brought all this terrible disease upon us. It is more interested in our soul, in return